Hello Warfighters, war is hell. I just got done playing the Laws of War DLC and the Remnants of War mini campaign for Arma 3, and I went into this with a very different mindset than most people, and I wanted to make a video about it. So rather than going into this thinking, oh gee, I wonder how great this is, which, I definitely have opinions on what I thought of the DLC, I went in here from the mindset that this can really tell us a lot about what we will see from Arma in the future. The reason why is that this was put together by a new studio in Amsterdam, and so for an organization like Bohemia Interactive, when a studio is probably putting together a new product, they probably want to keep their eye on what's going on and make sure it stays in line with what they envision Arma should be, and also set them up for success in the future. So this had a lot of people looking at it from within the company. So there's a lot you can get out of this about the culture, the mindset, everything that we can expect from Arma in the future. So with that in mind, this video is the top 3 things the Laws of War DLC tells us about the future of Arma. Number 3, the single player experience matters. And this was really good to see. There's posts I see on Reddit pretty frequently, especially when Arma goes on sale, that says, hey, I'm new to Arma, what are some great single player missions that are out there, or I've gone through, played the campaign, what else is there? I know a lot of stuff we see like on YouTube and other places is a lot of multiplayer experience, whether it's Arma Life, milsim groups, going on playing King of the Hill, whatever it might be. There's a big multiplayer focus, sure, but what was good to see is that this new studio in Amsterdam was focusing on the single player experience too. Not everybody's got a group, not everybody wants to be in a group, and so to kind of open up to the whole community, it was great to see this investment. With Apex, we saw a continuation of an investment in multiplayer, with the campaign being co-op, being able to play online with your friends, whatever it may be. But the fact that this is single player, I think really says a lot. I'm not going to go too deep, of course, into the campaign because I don't want to spoil anything, but it does take place in Oreo Castro, which is a city on Altus, and primarily you play as a person named Nathan McDade, who is a member of an organization called IDAP, which is supposed to help civilians in war-torn areas. You're going through a story talking about a whole bunch of different events that took place within the past 15 months, following a guy named Marcos and his brother for a good portion of it. So it does focus on one individual, and again, that was really great to see that the single player experience matters in this DLC, and I think we'll still see that be a focus with Arma in the future, and not just focusing on a multiplayer experience. For number 2, storytelling will be a major focus of Arma in the future. We see this in a number of different areas from the Laws of War DLC. One of the biggest things is some changes that are made to the editor and some of the objects that are available for you to put into your missions. For example, in the editor, some of the things that were added was being able to change how buildings are as far as their condition, like are they destroyed, are doors open, just small things like that that really in the grand scheme may not seem like too much, but those cosmetic things really help you be able to tell a story. It doesn't obviously enhance gameplay, it's not like a new weapon or anything like that, it's just changes to the environment that are of course used to then be able to tell the story. Another thing when you think of like objects, like there's wads of money that you can add now, leaflets, the new van, ambulance, the whole IDAP faction, which is added to civilians. I mean, that's not something that you're going to, in the most part, go out and play as, but you're going to set that up in some of your missions to be able to help tell the story. And so when you see those things added to it, that's a big part of it. And the number 1 thing we can learn about the future of Arma based off of the Laws of War DLC is that Arma will in no means ever be a casual game. Now, by that I mean you look at a lot of the first-person shooters or just other games that are out there, and it's all focused on the combat. Kill-to-death ratio matters. But actually, in this DLC, we saw that fighting was actually pretty minimal. I don't think that there was really, well, actually I can think of one time now where there was like rifleman, 200 meters northwest, type of thing. Like that's not something that you would hear that much because it was more about telling a story. The time that there was combat and action, it was to advance that story. And so the whole tone of this DLC was actually something that I have not seen in another game of this type before, like in a shooter or a military simulator. it made you remember that war is not all fun and games. When you're talking about landmines, what it can do to people. As I mentioned earlier, it was the focus of Oriol Castro and what happened during the war in that one city. And so it was a lot more personal. And so in many respects, you're in a military simulator game playing through an anti-war scenario. Again, not something that you're going to find in a lot of other games that are out there. This also introduced a few things, though, to the game. Things that I would not have anticipated would be something that Arma would introduce. But again, I think it goes to show like the seriousness of this and how it does want to kind of remain a more serious type of game. The addition of cluster bombs, new types of landmines, just so many things that were added to it that doesn't make you just run and gun, if that makes sense. Like, you have to be strategic. There's consequences for the things that you do, both good and bad. And just talking about war in general, I think was a very interesting take on it, which really made me ending up liking this DLC. Sure, this is not like other DLCs that you find out there where it's like, hey, new maps, new weapons, stuff like that. This didn't add nearly as much as, like Apex or something like that in the past. But I think it, again, really does go to show that Arma and Bohemia Interactive are really proceeding in a direction that I think is refreshing. I think it's good, and I think will help maintain the stability of Arma in the future. Making sure that you stay true to what warfare is when you're making a military simulator, I think is key to success, and is really one of the big drives for a lot of people who play this game. We don't want like another Call of Duty or another Battlefield. I mean, Arma is very unique and distinct, and if you're going to play this game, I mean, you're going to take it very seriously. There's a big learning curve to it, but you also have to have some type of investment in the game, something that pulls you in there. And I think the realism factor of Laws of War DLC and just Arma in general is one of those things that's going to help it survive way into the future. So that's going to be it here for this video. Again, the top 3 things that the Laws of War DLC can tell us about the future of Arma. As I mentioned, it's headed off in the right direction. I love it. I hope you guys get this. I mean, not only is it a good DLC, but it goes to help out a great cause, as the international community, the Red Cross, actually gets, I think, half of the net revenue or something like that from this. So even purchasing it goes to a good cause that's going to help a lot of people. But that's going to be it here for this episode. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already. You can follow me on Twitter @_WarIsHell. You can follow me on Facebook by searching War is Hell Gaming. And of course, there's the Patreon that goes to help out this channel. War is hell, but you don't have to worry, because warfighters, I've got your 6.